Well, more than less than 15 minutes late, they're to win by Frankish. Right? Look at me. Oh, it's kind of moving. Right. That works. Got three out of
Okay,
five.
sorry for the slight delay there, Mayor Amara. You may begin the meeting.
Okay, so welcome to the October 13th City Council meeting. Can I have the roll call?
Sure. Councilmember Riddell Harris. Here. Davis. Here. Down Calvio.
Present.
Holmes. Mayor Amara.
Present. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry about the delay, but thank you for your patience. The first point of order is the mayor's commendation, proclamation, and acknowledgement. So I have two proclamations. The first one I would like to call, this is the Indigenous Peoples Day. And I'm calling John Williams. Are you here to represent Oregon? So this is the Indigenous Peoples Day, October 13th, 2025. Whereas our community is the home to many Native people from all across this country, it is time to recognize this day as a day of remembrance of their ancestors and the deep contributions that all Native Americans have made. Whereas their traditions inspire the ideals of self-governance, determination that are the framework of our nation today. Whereas the Indigenous people have made significant contributions to the cultural tapestry of America with their music, language, arts, agriculture, and medicine teachings. Whereas our home, the city of Auburn, is the ancestral home of the Nisenan, thank you, Maidu people, living here for generations despite great adversity, including slavery, starvation, disease, and broken trees. They, the Nisenan, okay, so third time will be Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok people are now a thriving community contributing to the growth both economically and culturally to our city. Whereas we cannot change the past, but we must realize and remember the pain suffered by so many throughout our history. This is why we're joining many other cities across this country to publicly recognize its original people and advance a fuller, true, and complete understanding of all their history. Whereas it's time to pay tribute to the rich history, vibrant cultures, enduring resilience of America's first people by recognizing their contributions and sacrifices they made as the original inhabitants of this country. We must teach future generations that they are important, that they are recognized as an integral part of this community. Now, therefore, I, Sandy Amara, Mayor of the City of Auburn, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim October 13th, 2025 as Indigenous Peoples Day in the City of Auburn.
We're gonna go do.
Yeah, Mayor, this is proposed to the audience. Mr. Williams is the chairman of the United Indian, United Auburn Indian Community.
First, I'll introduce my vice chair. Okay. We start on James Miller in the community. He's a business owner, outstanding individual. And I would like to say thank you. Going to be, I hope this is the beginning of a government-to-government relationship where the United Auburn Indian Community, we're the only federally recognized tribe in Glasgow County. We're still here. And Isanon means the people. The people.
Thank you. Why be several?
Yes.
Did you want to say something? Next one is the National Hispanic Heritage Month, September 15th to October 15th, 2025. And I'd like to call Tomas. And if there's anyone else that would like to come up and be a recipient, then we'll have a picture after as well. And I also need help from our vice mayor here to help me get through this one. So, oh, great.
Both Tomas's came, yeah.
Okay, so whereas National Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrated each year from September 15th to October 15th to honor histories, culture, and contributions of Americans whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. And whereas the observation began in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Month and was expanded in 1988 to cover a 30-day period starting on September 15th, chosen because it marks the independence anniversaries of Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Mexico, with Chile celebrating theirs shortly thereafter. And
whereas Americans have enriched our communities and our nation through deep traditions of family, faith, hard work, public service, and cultural expression, strengthening the fabric of cities like Auburn through their leadership, entrepreneurship, and vibrant heritage. And whereas the city of Auburn recognizes and celebrates the invaluable influence of Hispanic and Latino residents, past and present, whose diverse contributions continue to shape Auburn's civic, economic, and cultural life. And
whereas, by honoring Hispanic Heritage Month, we affirm our commitment to fostering an inclusive community that embraces diversity as a source of strength and pride. Now, therefore, I, Sandra Amara, Mayor of the City of Auburn, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby recognize September 15th through October 15th, 2025 as National Hispanic Heritage Month in the City of Auburn, and encourages all residents to celebrate and honor the enduring legacy and cultural richness of our Hispanic and Latino communities. So happy.
I didn't have anything prepared, but I just want to first thank Mayor Amara and also Vice Mayor Kelly Davis and the rest of the Auburn City Council for the proclamation. I grew up in Auburn when I came to here in 1996, and I didn't see many Latino Hispanic communities here, but over the last week, I've actually looked back at the 1950s census, which is the census that is public now, because I think every 70 so years they release information, and I looked at the names of the Mexican people and also people from Spain and other Latin American countries that were here in the 1950s working on the railroad, part of the Bracero program. So I'm just reminded that also we have been here that long, probably longer as well. So feels really good to be recognized and for all of us to celebrate the traditions of Hispanic and Latinos and continue celebrating them as well, our rich diversity here in Auburn. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. We will now move on to the adoption of the agenda. This is a time set aside for council members and for the public to ask for removal, postponement, or change of the listed sequence of the agenda items. The agenda will be approved by consensus of the council.
Mayor, staff has one change to the agenda that we need to make. We need to remove item number 4, the professional services agreement for Leave Castle Whitmore. That'll be coming back with another date, but we do next time. So additional changes to that contract.
Thank you. And anyone from council? Anyone from the public? Okay, with that, do I have a motion?
I'll move approval of the agenda as amended.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine in nature and will be approved by one blanket motion with a roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless persons request specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for discussion and separate action. Any items removed will be considered after the motion to approve the consent calendar. Do I have, anyone who, on the council, that wants any public? From the public? Then do I have a motion?
I'll move approval of the consent agenda as amended to approve item 4.
I'll second.
Roll call, Councilmember Riddell Harris.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Dowden Calvillo.
Aye.
Holmes. And Mayor Amara.
Yes, thank you very much. That passes, public comment. This is the time provided so that the public may speak to the council on any item not on the agenda. Please make your comments as brief as possible, not to exceed 3 minutes. The council cannot act on items not included on this agenda. Items may be referred to staff or placed on a future agenda. I just want to, point out that, a longtime ARD, council or ARD board member passed away. I think Sue's here maybe to say something to Jim Ferris. So he was a pillar of our community and especially with recreation. Sorry to hear that. And then also, I'm honored to this next week to go on behalf of City Council to celebrate Paula Rothane's 101st birthday. So we're giving her a proclamation. So anyway, is anybody here in council have Kelly? Council.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to make a huge thank you to Janine Noble, for organizing Porch Fest this past weekend. It was incredible, so I want her to get some public recognition for organizing an incredible event that drew a ton of people out. Up to Auburn, out on the streets. It was awesome. I hope wherever you watch this, you do it again. We have this weekend Harvest Fest for ARD, which will be a great celebration. Come by bike and I will watch your bike all day. And we have also this weekend Auburn Big Time Powwow at the fairgrounds, and next weekend downtown Fall Festival on Saturday. So lots going on, and it's a great time to be out.
I just wanted to highlight, in case anyone was, didn't catch that the building code amendments, they were supposed to have a public hearing tonight, and that actually got pushed off to the October 27th date, so I just wanted to highlight that too.
Okay. Councilwoman Dowden.
Yes, I just wanted to, as a point of order, I think it would be appropriate, Madam Mayor, if we could adjourn our meeting in memory of, Mr. Ferris. from
Okay,
ARD,
yes. Yes, thank
that
you.
he was elected.
Then we will
Thank you.
adjourn on this one. Councilman Holmes, or you don't have to, but if you have some public comment? Okay, good. And as you know, the council, we have our committee reports at the end as well, so. So anybody from the public have public comment? Quiet, oh, Sue. Come on.
And Mayor and Council and attendees, I'm gonna let you know that we're gonna be using our presentation voices tonight
Oh,
and speak up because there is an issue with the audio outbound. So if you could use your best loud voice.
You shouldn't be loud.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Um. Hello, Mayor Mara and City Council. My name is Sue Engel. I'm a resident of Auburn. Jim, Ferris passed away about 2 weeks ago. I don't know the exact date. He was a pillar of our community. He was a member of the ARD board for many years. And we're gonna be holding a celebration of life for him on November 7th from noon to 2 o'clock at the Stella Room at the Recreation Park. So please put that on your calendars, and I hope you can come along, but we wanted to make sure that he was honored. And hopefully we'll have a lot of pictures of him in all stages of his life, so we're trying to plan something really special. So, thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, thank you. Then we will move on to council business. The first item is the retail commercial cannabis ordinance, and this is discussion, direct staff regarding the commercial cannabis ordinance. So,
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
And actually, I just a point of order, Mr. City Attorney, I know on the agenda, we're continuing public comment through October 27th, but don't we have to open the public hearing? And then continue it? Is that not an action item that we have to take?
oh, for item number 5A.
5A, yes, I know that we're continuing public comment in the item which is the 27th, but don't we need to actually open that today?
So the hearing was open because it's on the agenda for this, and
So
so
that-
that comment could have been given to the consent calendar, but we could also make a statement if there's anybody here who wants to give that comment as part of it, just to make it clear that if they came to this evening, they could provide it.
Okay, so just in the event that anybody appeared because it was on the agenda, Madam Mayor, I don't know if you wanted to just ask if there's anybody here to speak under 5A?
Sure. Is there anyone here who would like to speak regarding the adoption of the 2025 building code amendments? Okay. Good, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. City.
Thank you.
Attorney, and thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
Sorry.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Jonathan Wright, Stewart, Economic Development Director. As you recall, in August 25th, we had a meeting, discussed cannabis at length. Staff went over the different types of licenses that are available, discussed why almost all of them are not probably cut out for us at this point. Did recommend that retail cannabis be looked at by the council as food delivery. Staff also gave out a number of different scenarios for revenue, identifying different cities and what they're currently producing based off their budget. I will note that since the last time we heard it, I did update that spreadsheet I originally had to the 25-26 fiscal year for those same cities. Everything's pretty much baseline except Grass Valley did go up by $40,000. So that puts them at $240,000 that they're budgeting for this fiscal year, which you put that again in perspective with our overall tax structure, that would be hands down number 4 in our tax. So if we were to have that type of tax generation. Staff also went over the grants that are available, both identifying with Grass Valley and Meta City, who both received $3 million. They put it towards their fire department, they put it towards their police department, they put it towards their recreation facilities, and a number of other things, including some things for the antics for the school to prevent smoking and so forth. Staff also went over location, came up with 3 different areas to kind of focus on based off of buffers provided from schools, from youth facilities, and parks and so forth. And in that discussion, the council asked to have an amendment done to the second area, which was the Highway 49 district, which if you look at your map packet there, has been removed. So it is now just the north part of Palm Avenue that is now on there. Other than that, pretty much everything is status quo. Thank you. Which brings us to today. So at the August 25th meeting,
It's late on my side too.
Okay, here we go. So at the August 25th, 2025 city council meeting, we got to the end of the discussion, staff was looking for direction and council came back with direction to further the outreach. At that point, there was discussion about 2 town hall style meetings, which were basically workshops. Those happened on September 27th or September 17th and September 24th. We were instructed to have 1 in person and 1 virtual to try to capture a broad audience. We were instructed staff to have them after hours, after regular business hours, to try to encourage people that do have daytime jobs to be able to participate. And we were also encouraged to, for those who don't have the ability to attend those, to also put up a survey to try to get information. So on August 27th, shortly after the August 25th meeting, staff posted the survey. It was on our website. We posted information in a flyer. It was our Facebook, went out on the website. Staff has met with Old Town Business Association, Downtown Business Association, and discussed it with chamber folks, just that it's out there. And I encourage as many people as we could to take the survey or participate. So here we are. Overall, between the survey and the 2 town hall meetings, we had 221 people participate. Which actually, for the type of outreach we've done in the past, is pretty good. Obviously, the survey garnered the most response, town halls, the in-person one, and then the virtual was not so. One of the questions we wanted to solidify in this survey was just trying to figure out where you're from. You know, are you a resident of Auburn or are you from somewhere else? Just to try to get an idea of what type of base we had that were out here taking the surveys or attending meetings. And so 81% overall identified as residents, 90% of the survey identified as residents. There was a map there, so hopefully people could tell where the lines are, because as we know, it's people interpret Auburn to be North Auburn or the Bowman area, not necessarily the city limits structures. So overall, looking at the survey results, looking at the town hall results, the overall support was 86%. So out of the, I can't say it was the 221 people that participated, because people took certain parts of the surveys and didn't always they didn't answer every question. But I believe the majority of the people there definitely responded to this. And so you have 86% overall support, 87 from the survey, 88 from the first town hall, and 83 from the second town hall. This was an interesting one. Yeah. Proposed. Perfect. I can just, okay, perfect. This slide actually makes me kind of understand, or makes me think that a lot of the people that answered the first question about whether or not they knew they were in the city of Auburn, they may not actually answer that accurately, because you know, when you look at the area that we have here, the amount of commercial districts and the amount of commercial area, it's working just on the maps that we have. It's very difficult to identify areas that would qualify. And meet the straight face test as being, you know, outside of those youth areas and not readily identifiable as, you know, a dispensary type of area. So it was interesting to get this back, because obviously the vast majority of people who responded said 2 licenses, or some wanted even more. Right? There was up to 9, I think was the most someone said we should have. So again, back to, I don't think people understand exactly where they live. Oh, you threw it out. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so looking at locations. In the survey, there was an other section in the town hall discussions. We encouraged people to try to give, ideas of where they thought it was best suited, and people generally lumped back to the categories we had there. So if you look at it, Highway 49 was vastly ahead of any of the other ones. Old Town obviously hardly got any consideration. But downtown was in the running with Highway 49 as far as desirable areas for people to, or what people perceive as desirable areas for retail cannabis. So what were the positives identified out of the meetings and survey? Revenue for the city was number one, which we appreciate. Access to medicine, possible grants for the city, local regulation, safety, I believe is, so it's in the products, it must be product safety. And then job/business development by having another storefront build here. The negatives, the first one that kept coming up was traffic. People were concerned about the overall traffic impacts. The possibility of getting somebody in here that is not a good partner with the city. If it's, you know, then nobody wanted near any type of school facility or place where children were present all the time. And then concerns with access fighting. There was a question, one council member especially wanted us to address, and that was medical versus adult, or what the community thought we should be doing. And it actually overall, well, the vast majority decided that medical and adult use was probably the best way to go. However, in talking to one of the dispensary owners that does medical and retail, it suggests that the primary age demographic of those people that do use or have a medical card that purchased from their dispensary are between 18 and 21. It's kind of filling that gap. And then overall, when asked, you know, what percentage overall would, you know, gross receipts was it as far as medical versus retail? Medical is only about 5% of the total. Based off of this, staff is recommending that we just focus on rec and don't look at medical at this time. If there really becomes an issue or a need for it, we can always readdress it. But right now, I'm trying to keep it simple, looking at just doing adult recreational. So we're back to this. We're looking forward tonight to staff to get direction from the council. Staff is recommending that we do support the 2 license idea, but we do it under the tax structure that was identified in that size, and it's based on per capita. So this is the exact same thing that Grass Valley has set up. So 7,500 residents per license. So when they get to 15,000 residents, then the next license is the first to make that available. Right now, both of us are around 13,000 in population, so that would set it out for some time. Site eligibility, looking at the parcel identification that we already have. I would like to note that because of the Highway 49 nexus, where the community really wanted us to look at Highway 49, you'll notice in the map packet, there's a force map. And that identifies a couple of additional places that staff looked at, and thought these areas they're away from kids, they're away from youth facilities, they are in areas that, you know, conceivably could be used for this type of thing. Even the ones that are on Highway 49, the medical businesses that have been identified on the other side of 80 from here, those are buffered by a commercial node right behind it, but it does abut a residential neighborhood after that. There are some terrain features, elevation difference between that. There's also direct access on the highway in front of it there, so staff looked at that as also being minimal impact to that area out there. The application process, we would like to propose to you a process looking at the RFP-based approach. We've discussed many different types of programs and processes with the city manager and with city attorney. Only ran back to, we really want to have criteria set out and be able to evaluate the criteria of those applicants. Looking at the compliance requirements, looking at what those operational requirements would be. We went over that a lot in the last staff report. That was talking about odors, that was talking about safety, that was talking about security. It was talking about how the exterior of the building should be looked and designed to fit in with the landscape of Auburn and those types of things. And then staff recommends that we put in a review structure so that annually or every couple of years we go back meet with these operators and really identify, you know, does our agreement with this, or does their agreement with the city need to change? Is there some things or issues that we need to address, and figure out how to put that into our ordinance structure? That's it, I kind of think. We long prepared.
Thank you for that report. Just a question on the map. So there's 4 areas, right? 4.
There's a fourth map included, and again, that's based off of the higher ranking of the Highway 49
You're
corridor,
calling it area 4.
area 4, yeah, that would be, what
Okay,
we're calling lower 49 now.
Where 49 maybe come together.
so there's a pink too. Is that part of it? The,
Well, that's office building.
It is a different zoning. When we were looking to move forward this, after discussion, it's gonna be an overlay zone, so those zones get changed to. This particular zone it still allows the uses that they're used to, but well, incorporating.
oh, okay,
Commercial cannabis.
okay, thank you. Do any questions from council? Just to be clear, we have a big discussion, for those of you that weren't here, again. I think Jonathan gave a good recap. We're looking at one dispensary and it's highly regulated. And we're looking at areas that's appropriate. And so tonight the council has to decide and come up with whether or not we want to proceed and have an ordinance written. So, yes, you have a
I have a
question?
couple questions real
Okay.
fast. Thank you for the presentation. We got a lot of information at the last time that you presented, so this was great information. The question I had about the survey is, I looked at the survey and I remember there was something about single building versus attached building. Am I wrong? Did we get any feedback? Because for me personally, there was concerns about air that's shared between multiple buildings and the security that you can provide at a strip mall versus having an independent building that has more better security and access and parking and things like that. So I didn't know if there was any general consensus from anyone on.
Right, there was actually, somebody wrote in that, there are several people who wrote into that, talking about how they felt that it should be a standalone building and not in a strip mall. Although I believe that, you know, these do go into strip malls other places, but then obviously odors are a much bigger concern. Let's see.
I think my biggest concern about that was had to do with some of the security that we saw that was great in Grass Valley was like bollards and the back fencing and things like that, that probably would be hard to do in a strip mall kind of a scenario, so I didn't know.
So, we didn't have a specific question that answered that. There were people that have been talking about where they, you know, we said, where do you want to go? Where's the best place? They used the other section there to answer that very question.
Okay.
You know, they thought that it should be in a standing building.
Okay,
I couldn't give you statistics. I have to go back and look at how many people actually comment on it.
I was just curious. As far as the medical versus the adult recreation, I know that a big concern was access to medicine. Is there any limitation on access for over 21 for people who want to get access for medical reasons? Is there any benefit to it being medical versus not? And what would be that reason? It seems like maybe the 18 to 21-year-olds are maybe, you know, since that's the main, that.
Yeah, I mean,
makes it more difficult.
The medical marijuana, the excise tax at the state level may or may not apply depending on what type of identification you have.
Okay.
So it may be a little bit more affordable for somebody to buy it underneath that.
Okay,
It just, you know, trying to probe the other dispensaries out there that do have medical also. It didn't sound like it was a big part of their portfolio. It does not stop anybody to answer your question, is over 21, maybe as long as they have a valid ID.
it just might be a little cheaper possibly.
It could possibly be a little cheaper.
Okay.
Okay,
It
wait,
is
are you done with your?
I think I have one more. Hold on one second. Oh, and I know you were commenting about people not understanding the boundaries of Auburn. I think for most people that I talked to, the two had more to do with creating competition than really thinking about the boundaries of Auburn. But if we do end up expanding our boundaries and annexing, then that could possibly very quickly grow the number of people within the city.
And it also may produce opportunity areas that we then use for future licensing.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, Councilwoman Dowden, did you have a question? or follow-up?
Yes, I do. Yes, I did have some questions. Councilwoman Riddell Harris asked a couple of them, but Just with regards though to the medicinal, it is cheaper. We know that it is cheaper because they don't have to pay all those taxes and fees, and so it is, might be, it is cheaper. I recognize it for some dispensaries, it may not be as big of a, their sales, but definitely there is a cheaper. So that's something just to kind of keep in mind for us. Now, I understand that, the higher revenue comes with recreational, but if we're trying to serve our population, we should keep that in mind also. But I just wanted to mention that because you had asked that question. I wanted to know about the delivery component, because I didn't see that you really, initially, we kind of talked about that, but are you recommending a dispensary? What about delivery? Are you?
Correct, we're back to the original recommendation, which was to have recreational, a retail site with offering that licensee a opportunity to do delivery as well.
And then I wanted you to address the concept of drive-through. I know what the law says, but I want you to just address that because drive-through is not allowed under state law.
As I understand.
So, yes,
But you have curbside delivery, I believe is, which is interesting.
it's curbside, just as you can have anything curbside, so it falls under that. But there is no allowances under state law for drive-through, so you can't have a Burger King kind of a thing. So, but I think we did have somebody talk about that during the town halls. I just want to make it very clear. I need to make sure that we're on the same page on that, but it is, drive-through is not something that is allowed under the current state law. Okay. I don't think that I had any other questions, except that I know that we did the survey and we had the town hall meetings, which I appreciate. I was able to attend both. And I'm just wondering, if you had much discussion with the business owners downtown? And what that was?
Yeah, the Downtown Business Associations here, they actually voted in support of it, at their business meeting, through the board members. So we have had that discussion and anybody we've talked to has brought it up, we've discussed it. with them.
And the chamber, have we talked to them?
The chamber's aware of it.
Chamber's right here.
Yeah, and they're aware, I couldn't say their support.
Supported?
There's not going on.
There's a nod in the audience, so, okay, thank you. Those are, I have several comments, but I'll refrain from that. I just wanted to ask.
I'll open it up. Did you, Councilman Holmes?
When you said delivery, you're talking about by mail or
Vehicle.
on a vehicle. And I noticed we have a letter from someone who is interested in applying for a permit. Has that individual discussed that with you?
Well, I try not to discuss anything with anybody who wants to open a dispensary because I'm trying to keep this as objective as possible. So if those people want to apply in this process, they're welcome to, but not really out there discussing a lot. They have the same access to this information as everybody else, and I think a lot of them are actually sitting in the seats behind me.
I did
Okay.
actually have one other question. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Did you happen at all to talk to any of the businesses that are located in the proposed area? Where would be allowed, like, I just wondered.
I have not gone door to door, and I had regular contact with property owners and stuff.
I mean, property owners still have the right to say yea or nay.
Yes, I just wondered. Just
So,
a question.
I was gonna open it up to,
Process.
I was gonna open it up to the public. Any questions or comments from the public on this item? You can comment, you don't have to ask questions. Or you don't have to. Oh, okay,
Come
well,
on up.
just come and step forward and say, just state your name and, so if you don't mind, just step to the podium so everyone can hear you, please.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Patricia Johnson and I live in Norfolk. I am not a resident of Walden, but I am a user of THC gummies. And I use these for sleep because I have a sleep problem. By having a dispensary here in Auburn, it would be a great asset. So we don't have to drive to Nevada City. When you look at the weather, you look at the road, and you look at my age, we would really appreciate it if you would consider establishing the right to have a dispensary in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Patricia.
And Mayor, City Council, I support this initiative to allow a dispensary in Auburn. And I hope you do too. I participated in the survey and the workshop. I thought it was, staff did an outstanding job with the research and presentation, and I really appreciate that. You did a good job, Jonathan. I also would support not allowing the medicinal. As far as I know, the Colfax dispensary still allows medicinal. But I do support the delivery, because if we don't allow the delivery, they're gonna come up from Sacramento and still have that, there's our tax dollars going. So I think it's a perfect way for, or not a perfect way, but it's an opportunity for the city to gain some revenue that is right now being spent by myself and others down in Sacramento. And I've used medicinal marijuana for many years because my chronic pain and sleep issues. So I see the benefits versus taking opioids and other types of medicine. So I do hope that you support this initiative.
Thank you, Sue.
Madam Mayor, she actually raised a point and I wanted to follow. I have
You
a
can,
question.
we'll come back.
Okay, I actually had a question for her.
We don't want to dialogue. That's okay. You can make a point. Any other comments from the public?
Hello, Madam Mayor and Council. I'm Kat Hyde, President of the OTBA, and I just wanted to let you know that
Can you speak into that?
I'm Kat from the OTBA,
Oh.
and I just wanted to let you know that we are also in favor. I think we've been missing out for a long time, and I think it would be really beneficial for our country.
Thank you,
We
Kat.
all do.
Thank you. Thank you for coming forward.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor. Richard Miller on behalf of Americans for Safe Access and the State Director for American Alliance for Medical Cannabis, an organization based out of our foothills here in the mountains. We've been formed since 2001. We started in El Dorado County. Much of our members are throughout the entire region, going all the way up to Paul, including Auburn, and all the way down to Roseville. So we do have a location full. Having said that, I have some concerns moving forward. I heard the concerns about medical versus adult use. With the bifurcation of cannabis back in 2015, both of those were placed under the same rules. The only difference is medical patients, which is more. There is no real tax saving unless you get the MIC card from the state and our local health department. Otherwise, the tax base is still going to be the same. I do have some concerns moving forward. The first, I'd like to see an equity pilot program for cannabis retailers and other cannabis businesses moving forward to keep up with the conglomeration.
Excuse me, I didn't get that catch it. Neither of us caught that. An equity, what did you say?
An equity pilot program for cannabis retailers and other cannabis businesses moving forward to keep up with the conglomeration of corporate cannabis, such as we've seen in Sacramento. Doing this leads me to my next point. With corporate cannabis taking a hold here in California, and in every location, once the cannabis ordinance is started and the process is being formulated, the big boys will come in and rent up all the space available, leaving it difficult for locals and those that don't have the ability to rent multiple locations. I've seen this happen throughout Northern California more than a dozen times. So it's something we really have to look at. Having said that, I'd like to see us create an application process first and require the building second. This would give us a fair, equal playing field, not only for equity applicants, but the retailers that are good business operators. Furthermore, as you are aware, because you have received donations from the DCC, the Department of Cannabis Control, they do have grants that assist you in creating this program to help offset some of the costs for the ordinance. In addition, can help create an equity program for a multiple years, helping those equity providers coming forward. I'd also like to ask that all locations be accessible by mass transit on bus lines, so those senior citizens and those that are physically challenged have the ability to access it. I'm extremely grateful because I have spoken before you since 2006 in hopes of getting the cannabis program here. Not only for my family, but for a lot of the members that come down to Sacramento. We are losing a lot of cannabis money down to Sacramento, and I'd like to see that money saved here. I'd also like to see it help the people in our community. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to working with you moving forward.
Thank you for your input. That'll all be taken into consideration. Anyone else? Any other public comment? Okay, I'm gonna bring it back to council for discussion, and there's several items that the staff is recommending and we need to kind of talk about, which includes well, as you know, it's gonna, if it passes, it's supposed, there's gonna be a draft that'll go to planning commission first. And then after that, it will be presented to the council, but not until like January 12th. And then there is a second reading that could be 30 days later, but the staff would like to develop a request for proposal incorporating criteria, and that would be released in the spring. But we need to discuss what exactly specifically we want, and I just would like to start it out by saying that, Jonathan, I think the workshops were just excellent. I was able to attend the live one, and I really appreciate the work you did in such a short amount of time. I appreciate staff's hard work on this. This has been a long project and a long time coming, and it's a lot of work to get a lot of input and to reach out to everyone. And there's a lot of background that goes into this, a lot of research too. And Jonathan, you did a very, very good job. I think you've answered our questions very well. And I would like to say that I'm supportive of this, of moving it forward. My only concern is I think we need to talk about whether or not we want to give preference to locals here as part of the ordinance. And then I think, you know, you laid out some ideas in terms of how the front would look, and that'll be included in the ordinance too. But I'm fine with what you put with regard to what would be featured in the ordinance. But as far as preference for local, I think we need to discuss that if you're supportive of moving forward. Okay, Councilwoman Rachel, we'll go ahead.
Yeah, it needs to be a competitive process, so we can't say that we're going to only pick local.
Right.
But I do think that there should be criteria around someone who's local, and then also around minority, we call it MeeBee-Weebies, minority owned and women owned businesses, where they get extra points if they're those in the RFP criteria. Just gives them a little extra if they happen to meet that criteria, but it makes it a fair and open process that everyone has the rest of the criteria.
Okay. Okay.
Does that work with the?
Yeah,
I've done that before in other places.
Happy to get the feedback, and we will take this and then look at a lot of other requirements.
And put it in a legal manner,
Right,
where
so-
it is competitive and fair. Fairness is the most important.
Yeah, so staff's proposing right now is an RFP process, there'll be a scoring that goes into that. Lots of cities have developed this and thought through this process. There have also been lots of board challenges to other processes, so we can learn from those and look at them. Local preferences can raise concerns under dormant commerce clause, so you're putting a preference of trade across state and also city lines, so we need to look at that.
Okay,
But I think we can take the feedback in this and then we'll look at what the ordinance provisions are and come back with some documents for you all to look at.
and, you know, again, we want to be fair, and there's, I'm sure individuals that don't live in our community would do a wonderful job, but it just feels right to have something to where if a person lives and has been in our community, maybe there would be, maybe they would have more buy-in, and it would be a business that we don't, you know, but again, that's my thought. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Hopefully, if they're local, they would do really good on the scoring and all the criteria because they know
Right.
what's right for Auburn.
That wouldn't be the only criteria, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if you want my 2 cents, I agree with that, just knowing that when you shop local and you support somebody who is local, that money just stays more in your community. They have their family here, they shop here, they go out to, dinner here, and so having somebody who's local, having a thriving business, I support that.
And yes, to be clear, that's one aspect of the criteria that would be relevant in the scoring. And
I think, yeah, it'd be helpful if you could come back with examples of ones that have been used, and we can use that.
Yeah, sure. So this will be a zoning ordinance. So we'll go to the planning commission first for recommendation to come up here. There will be a zoning change either to create municipal uses within the zone. It might require a use permit, it might require a development agreement. It might also be an overlay zone instead of a change to your existing zones. These are all things that we're still thinking through, and once we get this feedback, we'll come up with some options. Since it will go to planning commission first before it comes back here, we'll talk about, does the council want to have more information or another meeting to look at options before we start that? If we go through the planning commission process and there's a recommendation to you all, if there are changes here, it goes back to the planning commission, which we can do as well.
so wait, you're saying the process could be where it goes directly to the planning commission, they make changes, then it comes to us, and then it'd have to go back.
If you make further changes.
If we make
here
further
that
changes.
the planning commission not considered, then it will go back to the planning commission. We could also have another meeting here where there's more input on the process and what goes into the ordinance, whichever way you would.
What does the city manager think is the most
We can just
efficient
express our
one?
thoughts now, and then that, they could use that in
Yeah,
creating the document, so hopefully we don't have to have more ideas later.
yeah.
That's sort of, I was thinking, you guys mentioned, but as we can get tonight about what the ordinance will be. Take correctly to the planning commission and bring that recommendation back also.
Right, okay, so we need a lot of feedback, Tom. Okay,
And speak loud.
so Councilwoman,
Yes,
can I just ask Councilman Holmes for real quickly?
Sure.
He looks really like he wants to say something.
Do you want?
No, I'd like to see an RFP.
Okay, RFP. Okay, thank you. Okay, Councilwoman Dalton.
Okay, thank you. So I have a couple things to say, and then I have some suggestions as well. I will tell you that I have had people in the community come to me both in support and people that are opposed to have concerns. Those that have concerns are primarily concerned about potential clientele and overall impact to the look and feel of Auburn. The writing is on the wall here. I see that Auburn is going to move forward with a cannabis dispensary. And with that, what I can say is that we can control so much more than we can with other kinds of businesses. The law does allow us to have that control on so many different aspects, including security, things of that nature, where, for example, a liquor store where people can purchase items that can be, be utilized for a variety of purposes, good, bad, and different. There is, security requirements, things of that nature. So we can also really control the design. We can control the signage. We can, some of those things with other businesses too, but, we can be very detail oriented. The other point is that I know this community is we are as a council looking to diversify our revenue stream. Right now, 40% of our sales tax is coming from one particular business. And really, we do need to do what we can to attract different businesses in here to increase that diversity. This certainly is one way to achieve that. I do want to caution people, I understand there are grants available, and that there's additional sales tax. But this is not gonna be the cash cow that some may think it's going to be. One of the benefits I've had is being on the League of Cities Board of Directors. Given that we've been talking about this issue for so long at the city council, I've asked my fellow colleagues up and down the state of California, those that have them and those that don't, those that have multiple, those that have one, what works, what doesn't. One point was someone said, make sure you don't allow them to have those flag signs on poles. Somebody was really adamant, if you're gonna do that, don't have those flag feather signs.
I think when you started out, that answered that question.
So. But I'm just saying that, you know, and so, again, the devil is in the details, with our ordinance, and I really want to be able to scrutinize that. Right now, we're just going to the planning, you know, commission with zoning. We don't have an ordinance before us today. That's where I really wanna have a deep dive and make sure that we have the best, you know, direction possible to make sure that whatever, you know, dispensary we have is going to meet the needs of our community and will fit into our community. That's important to me, and I think it's important to those that have, like I said, expressed some concern. You know, recognizing that cannabis is legal, both recreationally and medicinal, it is becoming much more mainstream. It's not just smoking a doobie anymore, there's, gummies and things of that nature that people use again for multiple purposes, so, so I will vote to support moving forward, but I do want a couple of things. First of all, I am supportive if we're able to provide for some kind of extra points for local. And I would say Placer County, not just Auburn, but I mean, if, you know, businesses, if there's a way to give a preference point. I'm not as, excited at the meaty weedy, you know, the state uses that. To me, if we're able to do preference points, I'd rather have preference points for local, really, truly. Also, I'd like to see the population base number change. I spoke with Grass Valley, one of their council members, numerous times. She was at first very much, she came from law enforcement, was very opposed to the dispensary when it first came to Grass Valley, and after a lot of discussion, she ended up being in support. She and I had multiple conversations as well. But they kind of just came up with that number. I would like to see that number increased for us. I'd really like to see it at 10,000 versus 7,500. So 1 per 10,000 population. And I'm hoping that my colleagues will agree with me. You know, certainly, you know, we aren't, 7,500 is 15,000, population 15,000. And, you know, we are not quite at 14, but that's just not very much. And so I would just like to see it at 10,000. So that was one suggested change, and I'd really like to see that. Yeah, so I local, maybe, I'm not gonna push that, but I do really feel like local. You know, I will also say that I did have reservations about a facility in downtown, and I still kind of do have some reservations. But I also recognize that we're hoping that this will bring people downtown. And hopefully, you know, if they're going to purchase something, they'll frequent our other establishments as well, spend money here, so, there is that. So, anyway, so I'd really like I said, I'd like to see that population change to 10,000 if possible. My colleagues will support that. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any input on that? Councilwoman Davis.
Sure. In terms of the population, I'm in favor of it staying, just seeing how it's split between downtown and 49, knowing that not everyone wants to come deal with downtown, but if you live close to downtown, it's great and it's convenient. But we have people in North Auburn, we have people who are coming up and down 49. If we can serve both those outlets, once the population reaches that level. We are not growing at, breakneck speed. So it's probably not gonna be overnight, but having the opportunity to serve both those outlets and not force people to come downtown or, whatever, you can be in two places. So I do think 7,500 is reasonable.
Okay.
For me, I guess I would be interested to see what number we think we're gonna get to if our annexation goes through, because I think it would be fair that that would be a reason that we would add another location is if we had all that property, but I know a lot of the space that we're annexing is commercial, so it wouldn't add a lot of population. So I'd be interested in making sure that if whatever number we pick, we could possibly get to that number if we end up annexing all that additional land, because there'll be a lot more commercial space that'll be available to be used on 49 and on Highway 80 at that point if we end up going in that direction.
Can we change it later if we?
The population number?
Yes.
You can
Yes.
amend this
Ordinance change.
ordinance.
You can amend the ordinance. Okay.
I'd rather amend it now, 10,000 is too high, I could go to 9,000. With all due respect, if persons don't want to come into the dispensary, if the delivery service is available, they can utilize that and not, I really, would like to see that number higher. Again, I think delivery gives people more access if they don't want to drive downtown, but part of this is, we don't know where it's gonna be, right? We're just gonna say, here are some proposals of areas where you can have it. And right now, that's, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, with all due respect, because we don't know. But I would like to move that number. I really do feel like the 7,500 to me is just too low. And I just would really like to see that.
Okay, well, any other discussion? I think it sounds like we're all in agreement with the points you brought forward with regard to the ordinance. And I think we agree that there should be a preference, a local preference, meaning Placer County, Auburn kind of thing for the point system. I'm not sure I heard everybody agree with the, what's it called,
Maybe. I
Maybe.
just want them to look into women in my area.
Yeah, women,
Getting an
okay.
extra point. Yeah.
You can look into.
There's been some big issues with impacting our minority populations with moving to these big industrial type businesses versus the more displaced folks who were serving the illegal trade originally. So there's some.
And so from my perspective, I mean, I'm willing to go up, split the difference, 8,500 to start, and then we could always amend it, but I think 10 is just a little unrealistic right now. I think 8,500 and then if we decide, like, I think we made a good point. If in the future we have a very high population, we can revisit that, but that's way down the road. So that's my perspective, and I think otherwise.
Can I do some comments?
Sure.
Okay,
sure.
Sorry, I just wanted to say too, somebody had mentioned transportation, and we do have on-demand transit here in town, so if anyone can get into Auburn through any form of public transit, they can use our public transportation to get them to wherever they need to, so that's the nice part about being in Auburn, is that we have all the access to that. And I also did want to agree with Councilwoman Calvillo that this isn't a silver bullet. It's gonna take a lot of little things in order to figure out our budget. And so it's gonna take a lot of work on different ends, general plan, building code, there's all kinds of things we're gonna have to work on over the next several years in order to fill that gap that we're gonna have in tax revenue. So just because this goes through, it doesn't mean that we're out of the woods, and we still need to work hard to figure out how to diversify our revenue. But I think this could do a lot to make sure that our revenue and our tax dollars are staying in Auburn, when right now they're driving to Grass Valley, they're driving to Sacramento. And so I think that's worthwhile, keeping that here and creating revenue and a new business that's a storefront in Auburn. I think that's great. So thank you.
Yeah. And I'll second that. This isn't the silver bullet, but it certainly is very helpful. And everything we can do, we need to do. We were thinking about going out for a sales tax, and what came back to everybody was, what have you done to really try and increase your revenue? And I think this is another step in the right direction. We've had Measure F. We've done a lot, but this again is something that you know, I think Jonathan worked very hard at, and in the end, we could benefit and our community could benefit. And I agree with Councilwoman Dowd Cavill that we want this to fit into our community, and we're going to draft an ordinance so that it does fit in. And we also want to make sure that it's highly regulated. Many people who I've approached, and I agree with you, a lot of people say, well, no, that's not operant. And then when you explain to people that it is highly regulated, that signage will not be an issue, that there's security, our police departments support it. So this is an opportunity that I'm very proud that our council is coming together to move forward. I know many other jurisdictions are thinking about it and taking steps to move forward. In fact, I think, did Colfax just pass a recreational?
Yeah,
They have one business that does both.
Okay.
Not
They used
two.
to be medical only. And
They were only medical and now they're recreational as well. So, in that, so I'm, again, I think that, you know, I don't know what else you need here, Jonathan, or.
Madam Mayor, if I could just say, thank you for, the support and moving that number up. I would be agreeable,
Oh,
you said to
yeah.
8,500, I was asking for 10.
Okay.
8,500 would make me more comfortable than 7,500, so.
Is that okay?
I don't think we're getting to either anytime soon. Let's go.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
And one of the questions I want to make sure we have answered is, do you want the draft ordinance to come to you before this to the planning commission? Or are you okay with us going, drafting the ordinance statement to the planning commission first?
I personally feel comfortable, and I think that was more kind of your recommendation, and I think that maybe is a very efficient way to go. Is that okay with council, if we just draft it and
Meet with
send it?
council members that have more concerns.
Yeah, because my only concern would be, Madam Mayor, is that I really wanna get into the weeds on this issue, and so I wouldn't wanna cause a delay, and so if it came to us first, we could really delve into that. I know it takes time, but again, the devil is in the details in this kind of thing.
Let me ask,
So, I mean, you know,
I think
it's back and forth.
Councilwoman
Yes.
Riddell Harris suggested, and can you do that? Meet with council people to
Address concerns.
address some concerns. I mean, I think we've addressed a lot, and if there's any more tonight that you wanna bring it up. But maybe you can, if things come up.
It's more like on design standards and, I mean, all of those kinds of things, like, I don't have an ordinance to furnish right now, and so it's hard for me to.
Yeah.
You know, I'm concerned about design and.
No, I'm not
security.
putting you on the spot.
Yeah,
I'm just saying if you can think of something, otherwise, is it possible to meet one-on-one?
Yeah, that's not.
Okay,
So then.
I just can't tell you what the other people said.
Right.
Yeah, serial meeting, so I just
Okay.
wanna be clear then, so whatever you draft then, Sean, then I can say I wanna see it ASAP so that I can provide my input. And I'm gonna.
well, I think we all would do that. Yeah.
Yes, it would be anybody, all of us. I'm just saying for myself, because I
Yeah.
know that I want to do it. I don't
Okay.
want to speak for anybody else if they don't,
No.
or they do. Some may or may not. But then you're going to get comments separately and have to somehow merge those into a document. What if you know, so I mean, just think about it from that perspective. Is that gonna be,
Well, I think if there's a large amount of contention, then Sean could talk.
just say
about
bring it back to
bringing
the
it back,
council, I guess.
but
Okay, we'll leave that up to you then.
It'll take over it.
There's a raise of hands.
Yeah, I see the reason. Hold on, just a second. Is it,
That's our planning commissioner, so if you wanna come up.
wait, are we done here then?
Can I make one more location comment that I keep kind of dwelling on? Map. Two? The one building that's at the intersection of Palm and 49. I still just, it's so close to EB Kane. That's the only one that just stands out to me. It's like, you're gonna sit there coming home from school. Tactical.
Is that,
Which number?
Bobo's Cafe.
here, Persimmon Terrace?
Uh,
Oh, there's Eva Kane, C3.
yeah, behind there's a gas station, Bobo's Cafe, the scuba diving shop,
Okay.
that strip mall. And I think it's the only strip mall that you have listed. So kind of
I'd agree with that.
Can you just show on the, which one are you talking about here? On
that lower left.
That one?
Yeah,
And staff has been there and you could not identify either way, couldn't see it, so we're trying to.
That's where the other place is.
But I don't see how you do security on that.
Right, it'd be a funky,
you-
a funky building.
I mean, as part of the RFP process, they have to propose how they're going to make all those criteria that were set out work.
Did you, in your talkings with the other locations, did you get any idea of like the daily traffic flow? Like, are they seeing 50 people a day, 100 people a day? Like, I think, people express concerns about traffic, but also, when I've gone up and down 49 Grass Valley, it's not like it's in and out burger and people are bumper to bumper there for hours waiting. So I'm curious if you got any, feedback or idea of like how busy these places are.
So we've been to run several times, and every time we're there, there's usually 1 to 2 people there at a time. But it's a steady flow all day long.
Right, but they're not like sitting in their cars waiting to let in.
Okay. Okay, I guess I'll reopen the public, is there more public comment out there? Please.
Our planning commission asked.
Thank you, Mayor and Councilman. My name is Steve Hyatt. I'm the chairman of the planning commission. Actually, I just had a procedural question. We went back and forth a fair amount on what the process is going to be. And this question may be for Jonathan more than anybody else. But it sounded to me from what I got out of it is that the council will be going over and providing input amongst yourselves, maybe 2 members meeting, not violating the Brown Act, of course. And then coming up with the ordinance.
Yes.
And then at that point, it sounded like you were then going to bring the ordinance to planning commission, and planning commission's task would deal with zoning certain properties or working on possibly changing the zoning of certain properties, reviewing the ordinance and making any comments on ordinance before it would then finally come back to council for final approval of the ordinance. I can give you a recommendation. Gotcha. Okay, I just wanted, like I said, it was just a procedural question. I wanted to make sure I understood that because there was a little bit of back and forth here.
Yeah, you got it perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there any CEQA involved with zoning change?
There is, yeah.
Okay.
So, and specifically for cannabis ordinances, the California Courts found that it's a project under CEQA. So we are doing an initial study right now and looking at whether or not there are any categorical exemptions that apply. If there aren't any categorical exemptions, then we're going to need to do the analysis on environmental impacts that might be a mitigated negative declaration. So we're starting that process.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Stephen. So do I have a motion?
Do we need?
I think so. All right, it's this direction. Okay, provide direction and, okay. So do you have enough?
You receive information and. At a later date.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, now the fun one. An ordinance establishing entertainment zones in Old Town and Downtown.
Right.
Conduct the first reading by title only of an ordinance establishing entertainment zones in Old Town and Downtown.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Still here. I would like to invite the chair for the Old Town Business Association and the chair for Downtown Business Association to join me at the podium. So Dallas, great. Okay. I'm only doing this to down in case you have questions, but normally you can probably comment, you run a lot back and forth. But I would like to say that we've been working on this thing for quite a while now. Last January, it came out that this ordinance or the Senate bill, I think it was 969, came out that allowed for entertainment zones to be developed within cities. Since then, we've seen several kind of go on. Most recently, I saw that Reading had done it, and so did Fort Bragg. And so, and in talking to ABC, it's kind of where they're leaving it up to the municipalities to come up with the ordinance and figure out how these things, actually are going to operate. So got with both the boards and started discussing, hey, do you want to do this? And after talking about for a little bit, I mean, during COVID was obviously a bad time, but with people out there and shopping and the ability to actually carry and adult beverage around, that with a feel like this, that was obviously one of the high point, a lot of, especially retailers, saw a little bit of a boost by having that availability. So then we started going, okay, well, where do we want to draw the lines? So if you look at Old Town, we basically captured the central core area of Old Town, from the top of Sacramento Street there, by the Port Choice, down to all of Washington, to Commercial Street, which we only did one half, which is the east one half of Commercial Street, just because we have the gas station there. And we didn't want people, we wanted to have signage there so people didn't feel like they could go over to the gas station and grab a beer or go do something. So that'll all be, identified out when we get to the portion of actually putting site markings out and so forth. In the interim, if this does pass, I would estimate we'll probably see, 8 boards and those type of things out for signage, just in trying to figure out how it's actually going to work. Anyway, so this went up Lincoln Street up to the top of the park, just so that it allowed those businesses on the other side to have the benefit. And then in downtown, we started right about the State Theater and worked our way all the way down through the main thoroughfare from Lincoln to Hyde, through Upper Lincoln, leaving a little carve out there on High Street, because we do realize that the PG&E building is going to at some point be a restaurant / bar type activity, so we threw that in. So that's also identified, and then takes you all the way up to the station public house. Now, working with both of them, there's different time frames they're looking at. In fact, downtown was looking at maybe doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and coming back to, okay, we want something that we can implement easily, and it's easy to try to have apply to both, because this is going to fall onto law enforcement and code compliance, things like that, and city manager potentially, for the issues. And so we've said, okay, how about Friday, Saturday, Sunday? And it's conceded that that's okay. And I thought, you know what, we're going to be real brave people here, because if Monday's a holiday, then why not just extend it? So put a provision there that if Monday's a holiday, not only can you do it on Monday, but also that not be at a 9 o'clock cutoff on Sunday, but that could be raised back up to 10 o'clock just because it is technically a holiday weekend. So they're in agreement with that. The state law says that you cannot have glass beverages or glass containers or metal containers out there. Taking advantage of that is actually kind of one of the things we've really been discussing, because it allows for us to do some branding and to, as a district, come up with kind of our own logo cup, in which for law enforcement is great, because they can see that they're part of the program. They went and purchased one. They've been ID'd, and so they are now legally walking around with the adult beverage. At the same time, there's also, in looking at how we can kind of structure so everybody gets the same thing, trying to set it up. In fact, I talked to Dancing Dog this last week, trying to set it up an area where they can actually purchase them, so they don't have to worry about going through the districts. But then it would be used as a fundraiser too, that we go back to Old Town, downtown to pay for music and things which further enhance the entertainment center. So it's got a business plan behind it. Just not, that it's gonna be, fun on the street.
So you're talking about like a reusable plastic cup? Or did I space?
Are there health standards or anything that need to be addressed with that, like a reasonable?
It's like a coffee cup,
You
Yeah,
can have aluminum
It
too.
is
No, you can't do that.
No aluminum.
Well, if I would be grateful plastic cups, what we started out looking at,
Oh, okay.
but they are plastic, yes.
so,
Because they don't allow us. That's metal, they don't.
I know, that's what I'm saying, you can't
Yeah.
use that.
No, we had to use what was given to us, and knowing that we want to make sure we can either, the law enforcement can easily identify people that are participating, that some places are using bracelets. Well, guess what? Bracelets all over the street, things are gonna be, So instead, we're actually using the cups as the ID along with a bracelet, possibly if we had issues. We've also looked at putting in the stamp, so in case of, so if you went into like a large cover charge, if you can stamp after they check your ID, now you're in, you have your cup, there's also talk about making, one Old Town different than downtown, so people aren't just like jumping, walking into the cup or even going back and forth. So, being able to identify, no, they're not part of this entertainment district here. They obviously came from somewhere else and shouldn't be here, and you have talking to. And you also notice that in order for them to operate, that the businesses will have to have a license with the city. ABC pretty open. They require them to go on the ABC website and register that they want to participate. From there, I don't know 100% what that process looks like, but in order for us to put in regulations into place and be able to enforce them, we use a licensing structure. So they will be coming to get a license they want to participate in, or in that they'll have the structure of, okay, this is the type of operation. I did put into the ordinance there that I want them especially to be able to educate their staff, because those people need to convey that there's limitations to this program and what those are. So this is all gonna be part of a big process. What are the first things? Oh, and then beverages from them to 12 ounces. You know, we could have been 16, but if you're walking around town, I'd actually like you to finish your drink quicker and go get one somewhere else, or if you're going into a business that doesn't allow it, I'd rather not have you pounding 16 ounces. And then limiting it to beer, wine, and then not straight alcohol, that they can do a mixed drink with 1 ounce of distilled spirits.
Yeah, can you talk about what it actually is? What the entertainment zone lets you do?
Sorry. The entertainment zone is, like I said, it's a holdover from COVID. It essentially lets you go into an AEC licensed facility that's participating within that district that's bordering that area that's outlined in yellow. And they can walk out of the door with this beverage to walk up and down the streets. You know, it's to encourage people to go into the businesses and shop. It's encouraging people to their own businesses possibly to stay open longer. It's kind of an experiment. We figure if there's people actually out there shopping, that the business owners may not close at 5, but there's still people there, and kind of forcing it, maybe a different culture. Like I said, with the funding that we're trying to structure in this business model, having more people out after hours, having a little bit more to do in Old Town and downtown, hopefully it keeps those businesses kind of activated and wanting to go. If they don't, it may actually bring in new types of businesses that cater more to a later demographic. But, so you can you would get your cup, you say, okay, I'm on a leave, or you've already got a partial, that they would then let you take out the door. It would be transferred into one of the marked cups. They've already ID'd you, so we're already there. You can then take it out.
Does it cost more? So you go into a business, you buy beer, and then do you pay extra to be able to take it out?
We're not dictating what the person that's operating the business is going to do.
Okay.
That becomes market competition, because if they're charging way more than the guy on the street, then.
Oh, I see.
we have to
Okay.
work out. So I would assume that they're probably gonna charge about the same. And one of the things that, you know, they can do to recover extra costs, if there is any, is if they're charging for a regular 4 or 16 ounces, but you're getting a 12-ounce cup, it's the same thing, because you're allowed to leave with it, that's up to the business.
Okay.
Right, and this is an hour swap operation, so once it's done, the employees cut off, and your agency license allows you to stay from 2 to 5, there's no more cuts out the door. We worked with the police chief on this, and even putting some extra enforcement provisions in there so that we can go out and notify them that you're not in compliance. If you don't stop, then we're gonna pull your license with that our mechanism, because they have a city license. And so there was a lot of thought put into, if we have people that aren't good actors here, or if they're we're getting overserved people in a certain part of town, that we can stop the operation for a little bit, regroup, figure out what's going on, and then do it again. And again, it's an ordinance, so you guys can kind of modify it for us. Future.
The big picture is trying to find new ways of creating more vibrancy in the 2 districts, and getting people walking around, spending money, but also having a good time and just creating that kind of like vibrancy and synergy with multiple businesses all the time. That's basically the big idea of the program. So
I know that you can do this. I mean, hey, people go, they go like, hey, what's going on?
I saw Sacramento's gonna have theirs tomorrow night on their council meeting. They're doing the same thing, entertainment zone.
Loomis is talking about it tomorrow.
Who?
Loomis.
Oh, Loomis.
They don't have any kind of ordinance, they're just talking to come.
So. Are we still-
Have you guys have anything on that, or? No.
Are you supportive?
Well, up there, awesome. Dallas Drake, President DDA. So we think it's great, again, it's a financing issue. We want something, obviously this won't be too great, but we're looking for things that create a uniqueness for our community. Like what tells someone this is the spot that I'm gonna stop, and currently we suffer from that. And we have businesses that could always use any just kind of revenue. But this is a creative program to make Auburn, not just Auburn. That's what he said. I'm gonna experience Auburn. I'm gonna be part of that. So that's a cool place to go. And we want to increase the dwell time. The dwell time downtown is pretty low. So people come in, drive in, get their thing, leave. It's not helping anybody. But if you have an activity that's part of what you already partake in, we can increase that dwell time, and really get people active and. Again, spending money, but making it a place where people want to spend time.
Kat from the TV again. I want to second that, but I think it would be really unique. And being a business that's next to the Poor Choice, where I see people go get a drink quickly and then spend their time walking around drinking that drink, is really beneficial for our business. I think that might be another cool way to do that.
Thank you. And,
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, I'd like to make a comment.
this includes staff support.
Thank you. Great report. I'm really excited about this. This is such a neat thing that, is like, I agree, Auburn is unique in that we do have downtown. We're not a strip mall. We don't have big freeway. We have walkability in town, and this is another way of getting people out of their cars and on the streets and in the stores, and what an opportunity. I think it's fantastic. My only concern is I hope our police department is on top of it and will also participate in walking and making sure that, and I know they will. We have a great police department, so together this can be such a big success. I'm extremely excited. I think this is really cool, and I appreciate, again, the input from downtown Rolltown. So with that, what about our other council?
Questions?
Okay.
So, then looking at the ordinance, so thank you very much on that. I understand participation is completely voluntary, but should we put something in there for those businesses that don't? There are some businesses that prohibit food and drink for whatever reason, perhaps they have something in their business. And so I just want to make it clear for those businesses that they can still, that if they don't want someone to come in with a cup, even though, I don't know, they would probably need to maybe increase their signage or something. I just get concerned if someone has their cup and they're in the entertainment zone and they're enjoying themselves, and then they just think they can go into any business because they have their cup. They can't, the business still has the right to refuse service, and they just need to make sure that the sign is clear to folks. And the participants understand that as well.
Yeah, they can set their own.
Actually, the conversation with the districts and talk about even some of them putting a table by the front so that you can set it down when you're walking around. Something to that effect, but it is, yes, the proprietor to decide.
Absolutely, and I respect that, I just wanna make sure that we don't have any run-ins that way, I would, The other thing is, I like the idea of the hand stamp or the cup or whatever you want to do that would, the hand stamp to me, the bracelets, yeah, they can end up in the streets. But just a way is a good way for identifying, I like that idea, and that's a cheaper way than a bracelet or something. The other thing is, I would really like to see Auburn PD report maybe every, maybe twice a year on if there have been any complaints. Or, if there's been any issue with regards to the program, just so that we have that feedback as well. Hopefully it'll always be no problem, but it would just be good to have that data as well. Because there may be folks that make allegations that there are problems. So, if we have a reporting maybe twice a year or quarterly, maybe to begin with, then we have data. Nope, it's not a problem.
I like that.
So just having that data collection early, I think would be beneficial, but I certainly support, moving forward. Again, I just want to make sure it's clear that those businesses that don't want to partake and they have no problem, they can put the table, whatever, garbage can, whatever, the signage just be clear. And then asking for our APD, but I think it'd be great, to have people come and, be able to have that right, so.
Thank you so much. Councilman Holmes?
Yes, when I first read this, I had the impression that, somebody had to go get a stamp of approval or some kind of risk, pad.
It's the ID, so wherever they got their beverage from would somehow indicate to law enforcement out there that they are of age. So the cup's one thing they're participating towards they've done, they have some other means that can be identified, whether it's a wristband or.
What somebody starts in Old Town.
Right.
And gets a stamp and buys them. Drink. And then they go to downtown.
They shouldn't leave the district because it's gonna be marked that they're not supposed to go past there, and we discussed that maybe even trying to curb that behavior by having two different colored cups, so if they do show up there, then the proprietors or the law enforcement that's in the area can say, no, you can't do that.
I think the hand stamp is really actually better. I like the cup idea, but the thing is someone could give a minor can be given a cup, there's no problem, and so I.
Same thing with the wristband.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you
But a
need a
hand
stamp.
stamp is something that you confirm they're 21, you confirm that they, cause a cup,
They can pass it on to anybody. Anyway. Councilwoman,
Don't we do that?
no,
Yeah, this is great. I mean, there are other states who kind of have stuff like this, and so, you've been to New Orleans and stuff, there's some fun, but maybe a little more fun than we would like here. My question really has to do with, this is every weekend that we're gonna be doing this? Every weekend. My concern is if we're using the same cups, not that I would think that a underage person would go and grab mom or dad's cup out of the
yeah,
the
that's what it
cupboards.
is.
So like that's
Yeah,
my
you
thing
need
is like, I don't know about, you can fake hand stamps too, but just trying to make sure that there's enough PD and stuff around kind of being conscious of that. I'm also, we worked really hard to get our DUIs down, and I know that PD is very conscious of monitoring those who exit bars who may be walking to their vehicle, and if now the entire street long is where they could be wandering off to their vehicle, that makes it a little bit harder for them to kind of have a net on those folks. So I'd be interested to kind of make sure that we're not seeing an uptick in that kind of behavior and things like that, just to make sure that everyone's being safe. Maybe, I know that we do a program where there's the whole tapping somebody to get them to buy beer. Maybe we could use a little bit of just making sure that we could have some undercover people to make sure that things are kind of being used appropriately, not to catch people, just to make sure that everything's going the way that we planned it to go.
But you also have the district numbers right here too, they don't want to see this thing fail, so.
I agree, it's just they're probably gonna be in their business selling things, I would hope. So just PD is probably gonna be more the one that has to make sure that the guardrails are staying on.
Right.
Dallas?
Exactly, there is a 2-year review on this ordinance itself, so we go back and look at it.
that's why the reporting is important.
Dallas, did you want to say something?
And so just a little clarity on the hand stamp thing you got today. The reason I got the hand stamp was that it allows a currency of today, the relatively time, so you just have it up like. We had some people in town, we probably want to take it out there, but it's.
You can pass it on.
Or hand stamp of participating members or interested in the program, you can. There's like an option to do like a day a week, some other options, so at least it goes like,
Yeah.
if you know. Even if you can't see it on the street, if you know you have some smoke for the day, you are less likely to break the
Yeah.
rules because you're like, all right, well, the same thing with clock is going on now, so you're gonna act appropriately. And also as the, our district talked about, where we are. I mean, it's a great privilege for us to get ahead, it's a great way to make our downtown successful, so we do take it seriously, and the members that we talk to, that we're like, Doris want to participate. I mean, they're adamant about making sure we still, comply with safe serve on alcohol and such, and that's why we reduced that cup size down. So we can make sure that we weren't over serving people or making them position or making them feel even rushed, and we can also make it an economic decision for to comply with the agency rules along with covering the costs of the program. So we try to think through it really thoroughly, and then with the company, if you don't participate, we could remove that access very easily because without the products, you can't participate in the program.
Yeah, and I don't doubt the interest of everyone making sure things are safe. It's just when you're trying stuff new, there's opportunities for testing things and figuring out what's working and what's not, and making tweaks as we go to make sure it's what we think.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yeah.
Some comment?
First of all, thank you very much. This was something I was very interested in early on, and I'm happy to see things happen, so thank you. I also agree with the stamp, and I don't know if it can be something that's maybe built into them getting their license, like not just like, oh, you have a red star, it's like a stamp that comes along with getting your permit, and if your permit's pulled, you lose your stamp, like it has, there's like something unique to it, not just like a teddy bear or whatever. And then.
You've
I've got kids, I got a lot of stamps at home. And then, along with that DUI enforcement, maybe, comparing stats and seeing if it's an opportunity to expand our on-demand service, to have it operate more during those times, to give people even more reason to come downtown because they don't need to drive at all. They can be picked up and use services. So I know we haven't extended our services and they haven't lasted, into the night lately, but if this, is a flourishing program and we have any concerns about it, maybe using it as an opportunity to look at on-demand.
Thank you. Any comments from the public?
Got some thumbs up in the crowd.
Thank you, Kat and Dallas.
Mayor,
Hi.
City Council, in case anybody wants to know, the Dodgers are up 2-0 right now.
Oh.
For the update.
I'm Piero's with the Physical Beats. And I just wanted, looking at the diagram, and I was just talking with Aaron Seminoff about the zoning of it. And I just like our building to be included in, it's cutting it off right before our street basically. And I'll be able to throw a rock at that. Not that I would, but I want to be included in that. Also, I'm just talking about the legalities of cuts and things like that. I think that all the ABC rules, there's a lot of laws obviously that go into people bringing cups, and I can't let anybody bring anything into the bar. I gotta check everybody's bottled water and things like that. So if there's a variance in that, or if there's a way that they're allowing that to happen, I'd like to know about that too. But anyway, I just wanted to say that I wouldn't be included. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Also, in our building, there's other businesses that are respectively talking about getting a beer and wine license as well, like down by the farmer's market. There might be a beer and wine license there. I think that they will be included in that as well. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Mayor, I just wanted to say that the chamber is really excited about the prospect of this happening. And for me personally, it would limit the amount of ABC licenses we have to get for special events, which would be helpful and save money. So we're all for it.
Good, thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, do I have a motion, it's an introduction of the ordinance, okay.
If you could by motion.
Okay, do I have I'll move that we introduce ordinance 2540 and waive the first reading establishing the entertainment zone in Old Town and downtown.
I'll second.
Roll call, Councilmember Riddell Harris. Hi. Davis.
Aye.
Down County.
Aye.
Holmes.
Aye.
And Mayor Omar.
Yes, thank you, that passes. City manager report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Quick ones, the reports on the guys, also copies in the guys. On the, economic development side, so the commercial property owners workshop, so that's on the heels of the vacant building ordinance we talked about a little while ago. That commercial property owner workshop is scheduled for October 30th at 6 p.m.
Wait, what time? I'm sorry, I missed that.
That's vacant building.
No, I know, what, October?
October 30th.
At 6 p.m.
Thank you.
in the Rose Room. So it was initiated by council, obviously, to start engaging with our commercial property owners in Old Town and downtown to better understand the vacancy issues. Auburn Fall Festival is coming up on October 25th. So that'll be, I think it's downtown Auburn. October 25th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So make sure you're going to that. We talked previously about trash cans in the jury parking lot, so those are here tonight, they'll be delivered tomorrow. So there'll be brand new trash cans in the jury parking lot to help with the farmers market, and just make sure that you have somewhere for close to the shuttle ones that are on the ground.
Thank you.
And then over the weekend, our sewer department responded to an unexpected sewer line issue that required a lot of cleanup and some remediation at a property on Live Oak Street. So if you have a tree Please don't put a tree over the top of the sewer line where roots can go into and infiltrate the line. Because that causes us all kinds of problems and homeowners as well, so be careful about where you line your trees, please. That's it. Any other questions, if you have a question?
Thank you very much. Future agenda items, discussion and identification of topics that require attention in the upcoming meetings. Do we have anyone that has anything they want to put on the future agenda? Okay, then city council committee reports. Anybody have anything? Okay, Kelly.
As liaison to ARD, there's some construction on their North Auburn, regional park playground. So she had a nice.
Cool. Okay, and I just want to say Site Busters, you know, which is a program that is in all the schools. They were on PBS on October 1st, but you can view it. It's online, I believe. So anyway, pretty great program, and if you want to see what they do, check it out. So that's my only input. Councilwoman Dowden Covia.
Yes, I do have several meetings coming up, both Pioneer and City Cogger meeting on Thursday and Endurance Capital World is on Wednesday, but I did attend the League of Cities conference last week. We did not have any resolutions. There's an opportunity for folks to bring forward a resolution at the conference itself, but nobody did. So we didn't have to vote on any actions. We did have a board meeting where we swore in our new board members and our president and first vice president, second vice president. So Gabe Quinto is from El Cerrito, Mayor Pro Tem is now the league president. So looking forward to working with him. He's very much in the spirit of collaboration. It was a great conference. Sean was there as well. Good workshops, and so appreciated that. So that's all I have to report on it.
Thank you. Councilman Holmes?
I had a meeting with some of Kevin Kylie's staff about getting some grant money from the Department of Interior to complete work on the library building. And get enough money to put the elevator in and that sort of thing.
Oh, great. You mean in Carnegie?
What?
Did you say for Carnegie? Carnegie,
Carnegie
great.
Library, yes.
Yeah, thank you, great, thank you. Thank you for that. And, okay, so that brings us to our agenda is completed, so thank you very much. I will adjourn this meeting.